Bare necessity, the simple bare necessity. Bare necessity, the simple bare necessity.
Hey there, it's Brie and welcome to today's Tiny Tip Tuesday, and welcome back to another day of Veda. If you haven't seen the previous videos for Veda, which is Video Every Day April, make sure to check them out. They are listed, they are posted, they are tagged, they are linked somewhere, so check them out. So today we're going to be doing a tiny tip that is annotation related, just like we did last week. I write in my books. I annotate my books in pen with tabs on page. And then recently as I talked about last time, started migrating into using pencil for books that I'm not as sure that I want to keep. If it's a book that I know I'm going to keep, I'll just go straight to pen. But if I'm not sure, then I might use pencil. That way I can erase my annotations, or somebody else could erase them if I donate the book or like give it to a little free library. If somebody wanted to erase my annotations, they could. So I've been doing that, and I showed you another way of annotating last week, but you may not want to carry a separate notebook or page to annotate or to take notes on. And so this week I'm going to be showing you another alternative to annotating on page, and that is index card annotating. What's really cool about index card annotating is the variety of ways in which it can be done. There are so many options of how you can do it. So what are the benefits of using an index card method versus some of the other methods? Index cards are very inexpensive and easy to come by. You can find index cards anywhere, and they're all gonna have good paper quality for the most part, because it has to be thick to work as an index card, right? So the ink resistance is a lot higher, and so typically they're gonna function better with different types of pens. So you have a lot more pen options available to you when you're using index cards, as opposed to a notebook or other methods. Even writing on page, you're limited as to what pens you can use. I find that some paper that they use for books just isn't quite that good, and so like I can never use fountain pens on them. But index cards you can actually use fountain pen on for a lot of index cards and get away with it. So there's some cool benefits to using an index card method. Another great reason for the index card method is that all of the notes for each book stay with the book itself. So if you do notes for a specific book, instead of having to go back to your notebook and find them, you just keep them in the book. You just keep them tucked in the book because it's just index cards. So you can just stick them in there and they stay with the book. So it's very convenient for the purposes of actually locating your notes. If you want to reference them a good bit down the road, months or even years later, your notes are always going to be with your book without writing in your book. Another great reason is the fact that your index cards can actually act as your bookmarks or as benchmark points. So if you wanted to use them as a bookmark, then you would just have them all together and you would move them along as you would stick them in for your bookmark. But you could also use them as benchmarks, so you can stick an index card for every so many amount of pages, and once you get to that index card, you stop and review and write notes and stuff like that. Or at that point you are ready for your new index card, maybe. I don't know. There are so many ways you can do it. How does it work? Well, first of all, you're gonna need some index cards, and you're gonna need to choose what kind you like. There are so many options available nowadays, it's amazing. You can get the ones that have color bars, the alternating colors ones, which are awesome if you want like very distinctly clear line differences. You can also, for that, you could even use different colors to color code your notes, so you know that a specific color of card is for a specific type of note. You can also use regular index cards. You could use the graph paper index cards, which are really cool. And there's even dot grid index cards nowadays. You also have options of size as well, so you could go with the original 3x5 or whatever size. You can go with the big ones, the small ones, or you can even cut index cards in half and use the mini half-sized index cards if you really wanted to have like small bits for each thing. So you have options. Or if maybe you just don't take a ton of notes, then you could cut them in half and save yourself even more money on something that's already cheap. Because why not? With index cards, you have the options of taking note however you so desire, kind of like with a notebook. You can just do straight down the page notes with different bullets, points, and symbols to indicate what the note means. Or you could do categorizations for each card. Like you could have multiple cards going for the book and just keep them like paper clipped together. And then each card or each side of a card could be for a specific kind of note. So like you could have one side be trigger warnings, and one side be representation, and one side be writing related things, and one side be like favorite quotes or whatever. You know, whatever categories you find important and that you want to take note of is what you should do. Don't go based off of what somebody else marks or takes note of in their annotations, because it won't work for you unless it's something that actually you are going to need to reference back or want to reference back. I find that that's very important. You could also have a card specifically for just what you would annotate on page. So like, OMG, I can't believe she did that, or oh, that was so sweet, I can't believe they said that, or whatever. Like all of those kinds of notes that I write on page, you could add those on an index card and be able to just note what page it was and be able to like reference it. And you can add as many index cards as you need. So if you run out of room, it's okay, you just grab another card. You could also tape your cards inside your book once you're done them. If you have a little bit of tape that you can fit on the edge, just leave enough room on the edges so that you can tape it in. And you can even make it flippable so that you can flip it out and read both sides of the card. So that's another cool option for you as well. And just use like a washi tape or something that is easier to remove. So if you ever did want to get rid of the book or take the index cards out, you could. Or you could even create maybe like a pocket to stick your index cards in. That would be a cool option as well. You could do this with a dust jacket too. If you were like, if you don't take your dust jackets off, you can make a pocket out of your dust jacket, which is a cool idea. So you have a lot of options with using index cards. And the best thing to me is that it's versatile and still allowing you to do what you want to do while keeping the ink off of the page. And again, to me, it's easier if you're, you know, out and about to have, you know, index cards, and as long as you can keep them together and in your book well, and that doesn't become an issue for you, which again, paper clips are going to be your buddy for that. Make sure you're using good ones. The jumbo sized ones are like really good for this because they're less likely to like slip around, and like pin it onto the page, like the end sheets, if you will, and that is going to hold it the most securely. Or on whatever page you're reading, you can do that way as well. But yeah, so that's just another tip for you. Another really important thing I would recommend with this method is using book sleeves when you take your books places. That way your index cards don't end up falling out everywhere. If you drop your book, it's less likely to fall out of the sleeve than it is if you're just carrying it without a sleeve. It's less likely that it's going to fall out and fall open and all the cards fall out of place and you lose your spot. So book sleeves are your friend for that reason. So I would recommend book sleeves if you're going to use this method as a form of protecting your index cards from loss and misery. That's all I got for you. So hope you guys like this tip, and be sure to stay tuned for one more annotation method next week before the end of Veda. If I ever come back with other annotation methods, then I will be sure to have them, I'll be sure to try to come back and remember to link them in the description of this one or in the cards of this one. I may even make a whole playlist for annotation methods because there's so many options out there, and like tips and tricks on annotating. There's plenty of ideas out there I can share with you guys if you want. But yeah, that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day or night, whatever time it is for you. Make sure you hit the notification bell and the subscribe button down below so that you will become a part of the Bear Scouts and be notified every time I post a new video. But most importantly, so that I will see you again very soon. Peace out, Bear Scouts.
About your worries and your stress. I mean a bare necessity. That's why a bear can rest at ease with just the bare necessities of life. Yeah, with just the bare necessities of life.